Welcome back. In today's video, we are going to give you a complete review and a full understanding of one of the most iconic sports cars ever built, the 2026 Porsche 911. By the time this video ends, you will know everything that matters about this car, from the exterior design and the interior to the technology, the performance, the driving experience, the practicality, the strengths, the weaknesses, the pricing, the value for money, and how it stacks up against its closest rivals. So if you want the full picture before you form your own opinion, stay with us until the very end, because there are a few details later in this video that most reviews simply skip over. There is a certain sound that car enthusiasts recognize before they even see the car it belongs to. A low, mechanical hum that rises into something sharper, something alive. That sound belongs to the 911, and for more than 60 years it has refused to fade away. While entire brands have risen and disappeared, while the industry has shifted toward electrification and digital everything, this one car has quietly kept its shape, kept its soul, and somehow kept getting better. The 2026 model is not a reinvention. It is something more interesting than that. It is proof that the original idea was right all along, and that idea just needed refining generation after generation until it reached this point. Let's start with what you notice first, the way it looks standing still. Porsche has never been a brand that chases dramatic redesigns, and the 2026 911 continues that philosophy. The silhouette is unmistakable, that sloping roofline flowing into the rear haunches, a shape so familiar it almost feels like a piece of design history rather than a modern product. But look closer, and you will notice the changes are not cosmetic afterthoughts. The front end has been sharpened, with slimmer lighting signatures that give the car a more focused, almost predatory stance. The rear light bar has been refined too, glowing with a presence that looks even better after dark than it does in daylight. It is a car that photographs beautifully, but it is even more impressive in person, because you start to appreciate the small details, the panel gaps, the way the doors close with a reassuring, expensive sound. The way every surface seems to have been considered rather than simply styled. Step inside, and the story continues. Porsche has never tried to overwhelm you with interior drama the way some rivals do. Instead, the cabin feels like a tool built for a purpose, but a beautifully finished one. The driving position is low and snug, wrapping around you rather than surrounding you. Materials feel genuinely premium, from the stitched leather to the tactile metal switches that Porsche still insists on using in places where other brands have switched to flat, lifeless touch panels. Space is tight in the rear, and let's be honest, calling it a 2+2 is generous, but that has never been the point of this car. The front seats are where the experience actually happens, and they are supportive, comfortable enough for long drives, yet snug enough to hold you in place when the road gets interesting. Technology has crept into the 911 in a way that feels natural rather than forced. The digital instrument cluster now sits fully ahead of the driver, configurable but never distracting, while the central touchscreen handles navigation, media, and connectivity with a layout that feels intuitive rather than intimidating. Wireless smartphone integration, over-the-air updates, and a genuinely useful voice assistant all make this a car that fits comfortably into modern life, without losing the analog feel that made people fall in love with it in the first place. Safety technology has also matured significantly, with adaptive cruise control, lane keeping assistance, blind spot monitoring, and automated emergency braking now standard or available across the range, quietly working in the background so the car remains reassuring even when you are not actively thinking about performance. Now let's talk about what truly defines this car, because underneath that familiar shape, sits a genuinely significant shift. The 2020 6911 introduces a hybrid powertrain into the heart of the lineup, particularly in the GTS models, blending the traditional flat-six engine with an electric turbocharger and a small battery pack. The result is not the muted, numb feeling some feared from electrification. Instead, it is faster throttle response, stronger mid-range punch, and power output pushed well into the mid-500s in horsepower. All while the car still sounds and feels distinctly like a 911. 0 to 60 arrives in a number that would have seemed unbelievable for this platform not too many years ago, and top speed remains firmly in supercar territory. Yet, what impresses most is not just the raw numbers, but how usable that performance is in everyday driving. Get it onto a real road, not a smooth test track, but a road with imperfections, bumps, tight corners, sudden elevation changes, and the 911 reveals why it has remained the benchmark for so long. The steering communicates with a level of detail that most modern performance cars have lost in the pursuit of comfort. The chassis feels planted, yet playful, willing to be pushed hard without punishing you for small mistakes. It is a car that rewards skill without demanding perfection, which is precisely why it has become the sports car so many enthusiasts learn to grow into rather than out of. And despite that performance, it remains remarkably composed during a boring commute. Soft enough over rough pavement, quiet enough on the highway that you could genuinely use it every single day. That everyday usability is part of what makes the ownership experience so compelling. There is a small but genuinely useful front trunk for soft bags, decent visibility for a low sports car, and a build quality that owners consistently praise even after years of use. Of course, no car is perfect. Rear seat space is more symbolic than functional. Options can quickly inflate the price into eye-watering territory, and routine maintenance costs remain a serious consideration for anyone stepping into this ownership world for the first time. These are not deal breakers, but they are realities worth understanding before you sign anything. Speaking of price, the 2026 911 starts at a figure that positions it firmly in premium sports car territory, and depending on trim and options, it can climb dramatically higher. Compared to rivals like the Chevrolet Corvette, the Nissan Z, or even the Mercedes AMG GT, the 911 is rarely the cheapest choice on paper. But value here is not measured only in dollars per horsepower. It is measured in resale value that consistently outperforms competitors, in a brand heritage that few manufacturers can claim, and in a driving experience that genuinely feels worth the premium once you are behind the wheel. So where does that leave the 2026 Porsche 911 in the bigger picture? It is not the car that shouts the loudest or chases the biggest headline numbers. It is the car that quietly continues doing what it has always done, evolving without abandoning what made it special, blending old-world driving feel with new-world technology in a way that feels remarkably balanced. It remains the sports car other manufacturers are still measured against, not because it is flawless, but because it understands exactly what it is supposed to be. If this video helped you understand the 2026 Porsche 911 a little better, do us a favor and hit that like button. Subscribe if you are new here, and drop a comment letting us know which version of this car you would choose and why. We read every single one, and honestly, that conversation is often the best part of making these videos. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one.